Hello and welcome to the Wedding Pro podcast, the podcast where we share tips and tricks for wedding vendors and couples, share insight into the wedding world, and share about our experiences. We are Gracie and Angela Felix of Felix Wedding Films. We are so glad you tuned into this week's episode. Now let's get into it. All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Pro podcast. Today, we're talking all about expectations, where they're coming from, where they align, where they don't align, and how that can affect couples' wedding planning experiences. I'm super excited to have our guest, Chrissandra Jallah. And she is a wedding photographer based out of Atlanta, working in the East Coast as well. And you work a lot with couples that really care about like the sentimental part of the wedding planning experience, the intentionality, all that good stuff. But before we dive into our topic about expectations, I would love it if you could just introduce yourself to the listeners, tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, what got you into photography, what you love, whatever you want to share.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chrissandra, and yes, I am an Atlanta-based wedding and portrait photographer. My couples are more experienced on the sentimental and the overall experience of the day versus the pomp and circumstance of it all. And I got into photography in high school for the yearbook, but with weddings, my mother voluntold me for my very first one, and I enjoyed it so much that I didn't stop, and so here we are today.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited for this topic. I'm also excited to have you as a guest. You are very verbal on your stories, and I love like all your opinions. I'm always like, yes, say it louder for those in the back, period. So yeah, I'm excited to talk just all about expectations and like for the couple's wedding planning journey. Obviously, you're a photographer, you're not a planner, but like you have some good opinions that have to do with planners and that have to do with the whole experience. So I'd love to go ahead and dive in and just ask, where do you think most couples are getting their expectations for their weddings today in 2026?
I think it's a mixture of the nostalgia of what weddings used to be and what they're seeing them become now. Unfortunately, so many of our couples are pulling their inspo from social media and not realizing, hey, that wedding you just saw cost $500,000. And there is a full team production behind it. It's not something that's easily recreated in your backyard. And they're just unaware of the cost and the unseen labor of what it takes to put it all on.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's skewing what they're wanting for themselves because then they start inquiring with vendors, getting these quotes back, and they are getting severe sticker shock because they just have no idea and no former reference point to know what it would cost to have the day they've been envisioning.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I know, I don't think that you've been in business as long as, before social media, because we haven't either. But I think, we both know that weddings before social media were drastically different. Couples could look at like magazines, they could, hear about weddings on the news, but they're not scrolling endlessly on like Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. So how do you feel like social media has just like changed the way that couples approach their wedding? You touched on it a little bit, but
Mhm.
I know that there's so much more to unpack.
It's really skewed how they've seen them. Previously, before when it came to weddings, before social media, you didn't see the intricacies of a wedding unless you were a part of the wedding, in the wedding, or you were invited to the couple's home and looked at the album. And now everyone has all this access because of the internet to see weddings happening across the globe, or right in their own backyard. And they're not realizing one, we have way too much access to everyone's business. But aside
Yeah.
from that, they're seeing so much that they would normally not have access to. And their belief is that, oh, this must be attainable to me because why not? And they're not recognizing that there's a scale. We are in the industry, so we're aware that there are ranging budgets for weddings across the board. However, the couples don't know that. They're just seeing huge production, I would like that. Oh, that costs way more than I expected. How are people affording these weddings? Social media has made people think they should be able to have the same thing the person spending 500,000 is having for like $20,000. And while neither amount is a minuscule amount of money, it's just going to depend on where you fall on the spectrum. You can have a beautiful day either way, but we have to kind of bring it back in to say, hey, here's what we can
Mhm.
do within this budget and guest count. We can't look at those things and compare. We all know comparison is a thief of joy. You don't need that while you're
Mhm.
planning your wedding because the focus is not the day in itself, it's the marriage. Of course, you want to have a wonderful time, but you don't want to be so focused on spending so much money and it's stressing you out when it's entirely more that you have available to yourself to where you forget the overall meaning of what you were doing in the first place.
Mhm. Yeah. That's so true. So I'm not sure if you've run into this before, but as videographers, we've had couples share inspo videos, which is not as common, but some of the inspo videos will be, multi-million dollar weddings, clearly very luxury. And the videographers I know had a team of 6 to 8. They're like the top videographers in the
Yes.
world. And it's like, I mean, we do a great job, but, like, I don't know if these expectations are quite aligned with, like, just the whole style of the wedding, obviously budget and, like, the experience as a whole. Um, have you ever had a situation where someone's, like, vision and budget didn't fully align? Obviously, I know you're not the planner, but it affects you as a photographer. Like, how did that affect your role as the photographer? And, like, did you have to help them align their expectations a little bit when it came to your service or, like, just the whole wedding experience?
It's been a little bit of both for me. So personally, I have had clients who send me a mood board and all these different things and having to explain if you want these types of photos, we need time. Um, for example, when couples are saying, I don't want to do a first look, but here is my long, 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 long list of what I want to do. And I also want to go to cocktail hour. And
Mhm.
you have to explain to them, like, I have no problem saying no or telling a client that is not feasible. Or if, hey, if you want to do this, here's what we need to adjust. And generally, most people have taken my advice. Now, they do not always, and sometimes it reflects on the wedding day, not on anyone's fault, but more like we gave you the options of what could possibly happen if we didn't do this. That other option has happened. Here we are. You can still enjoy your day, but we want to be realistic with them and not sell them a dream. I've experienced it with
Mhm.
planner
Yeah.
friends telling me their stories of clients having this huge vision and they're explaining it costs this amount of money. And in their minds, they think, well, you should just give me some more quotes from cheaper people. And it's like
Yeah.
getting more quotes from cheaper people does not equate to you getting the same experience or the same, um, not only the experience, but the quality as the person who was charging you
Yeah.
significantly more. There is a reason they're charging more. And you may
Mhm.
end up disappointed that you're pushing for me to find someone else to do this when I cannot guarantee what they're
The
going to be
quality.
producing for you. And then you will still end up
Yeah.
feeling upset and feel like you wasted your money.
Mhm. Yeah. Obviously, we're not planners, but we have absolutely seen it, like, just from our perspective, because we're as photographers and videographers, we're with the couple super closely on their wedding day. So,
Mhm.
if something is off or if they didn't like the service or the quality of a certain vendor because they went a little bit, you know, for the budget friendly option instead of like the quality option, it's like we can see that it's pretty clear in, their whole
Yes.
experience.
And as a photographer, when clients want to mix a lot of high and low, that works really well with an outfit. Like an Amazon shirt, Old Navy jeans, Prada shoes. You can do that with an outfit uh in a more seamless way than you can for your wedding day.
Yeah.
S- Um it's frustrating as the photographer when the expectations of, well, I want all this to happen or I want it to look this way. I'm like, well, you didn't hire a planner who was experienced in doing this kind of wedding. You didn't hire a florist
Mhm.
who could accurately match the vision that you wanted. You decided to do either like a DIY or pick someone who was maybe newer and did not have the experience or access to the quality blooms you were hoping for. I understand you want your photos to look crisp and the soft look, but you did not hire the experts hair and makeup team, and it is like 85 degrees outside. So there's only so much that can be done. A lot of
Mhm.
in the high and low trying to save money, or the illusion of I'm saving money, but then the end result, and so much of that falls
Yeah.
back on photo and video. It's because we have the final products of what it was, the culmination of the entire day. And it is difficult
Mhm.
when clients don't understand, like, we have to be across the board in quality to give you one cohesive body of work and team for your wedding day. Because if
Mhm.
one thing is off, it can affect the entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, this was not in the outline that I shared, but I'd briefly love to hear about your experience of like working with maybe videographers that are not at like the same experience level as you. Cause yeah, so I'd love to like throw you a little curveball, but
Okay.
I'm sure you've had experience working with like videographers, for example, that weren't necessarily at the same experience level as you because obviously, you're a really great photographer and sometimes couples like to cut the budget in certain places. Maybe they cut it for videography. Have you ever had some experiences that like were negative and impacted your work that way?
Unfortunately, yes. I have worked a wedding where the client hired a photographer. They hired a videographer, the ones that kind of plant themselves like right in the middle of the
Mm.
aisle, or they want to get really, really, really close because they're on like a 35. And
Perfect.
like they don't have the proper equipment. They don't understand about we're working together as a team. Because for me, it's not all about the day is not about me and what I want. It's also about the couple and getting them the experience that they
Mhm.
are paying for. That means you have to work as a team with everyone else, but everyone is not a team player. And
Yep.
on top of them not being team
True.
players, are just don't understand the etiquette of like, hey, actually, you are you're in the shot. You staying here the whole time is not only blocking my view, but possibly the guests, depending on how the things are set up. The way you're positioned yourself is not going to work, or how you want to put this on the like the microphone. Just things where I'm kind of like, this would never happen if they had hired who I said they told. Like if they had hired who I said to
Yeah.
hire, we wouldn't be having this problem. And honestly, then this is a controversial take. I think no video is better than bad video
I've
because
heard that.
it just takes away from the experience. Like I honestly might rather them have a content creator because at
Mhm.
least they probably will be more likely to be in line with me, versus a video team that just does not understand, like, you cannot shoot a wedding day like we're on a movie set. Or
Yeah.
if this is
Yeah.
your first time doing this, let's work together and not you go off and do your own thing because the flow doesn't go
Mhm.
well. And of course, it's never to
Yeah.
make a scene in front of clients or guests, but you just notice when you're like, that would have been a really great shot if you hadn't circled them 8 times during the first
Yeah.
dance, but okay. Mm.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that's why I always love coordinating with the photographer. Like, hey, what's our plan for the first dance, for example? Like, if we stay in this half moon and we're all shooting this way towards the guests, we won't be in anybody's shot. It'll be a really great background. But, not everyone gets that. But that is a little bit of a tangent on my
It's
end.
okay. I understand
um,
100%.
Yeah. Oh, I know you do. So I know that obviously your photography is amazing and you've been doing this for a
Yeah.
while, but thinking about like other photographers' experience or just like any vendor, for example, what are your thoughts on like let's just say a couple comes to a photographer who is just 1 year in the business, and then they send Jose Villa's most recent wedding as an example of the type, like the style that of photography that they wanted. You feel like that's okay? What are your thoughts on that?
I think sometimes we have to give the clients grace. They don't know. Sometimes they don't know. A lot of them, especially if it's their if they're the first ones getting married in their friend group, if they are super young, um, they are just seeing what is out there and what stands out to them. It's up to us to do our best to educate and say, hey, this work is coming from this person who's on this level. This isn't real, I aspire, but we are not quite there yet. Because it's Jose Villa. I think we're all like,
Yeah.
please, one day.
Yep.
But now it's different if they're pulling it off the website. But again, we have to educate to let them know what is and is not possible. It's particularly right now with photography, like film. People will pull these amazing, gorgeous cinematic images, and it's like, hey, it's not realistic especially if you went to the website and you know this photographer costs $10K plus. No, the person who charges $1,000 is not going to do the same level of work.
Yeah.
It's not that they aren't talented, because we all started somewhere and we were all charging a lower amount at one point in time. We've all been there. But it's my first wedding, I let them know I have never shot a wedding. I'm a photographer. But I practiced before I got to their wedding date, but they adjusted their expectations. I was a child shooting my first wedding. I was still in my early 20s. And so they were aware of what they're walking into. But I think sometimes the clients will see that gorgeous work and say, well, if I just show you this, you can do it too. It's like, it took this person years to cultivate and curate. And also sometimes talent, some people just have it. It's not even a matter of like, of course you have to work on it to consider, making it thrive, but some people just have it and you cannot teach that kind of thing sometimes. And you're asking a lot and you're setting yourself up for failure if you expect someone who is just starting out, building their portfolio, they're not going to deliver work that looks like that work. So we need to reel back the expectations to get a better sense. Like, look at what their work looks like right now.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, don't book them. You cannot just show someone something and say, I want it like this. You have to go book that person. If we can't book that person, you find someone who's more closely aligned to your price point with work that you already like. But asking someone to essentially recreate what someone else has done is not realistic. And while we are service providers, we are still artists. We care about the work we produce. We want to also enjoy it. If we didn't care about making art for people and just saw it as just a job, many of us wouldn't do it. Many of us wouldn't last. You have to love this work to do it for people. And so, yes, we're providing a particular service to them. You still want to be invested and proud of the art that you are creating for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm passionate about this as well, because it's not fair to that vendor who is newer. Like, let's just say they're not even a year in the business, and let's just say it's a photographer, and the client is sending them all this inspo. And then after the fact, I've seen so many Facebook groups where people are bashing their photographers, but I go to the website and they're 1 year in the business. And how much did they charge? $1,200, which, yes, that's still a significant amount, but like, you are having expectations of, like, for example, you were saying earlier, like starting at 10K photographer. And it's like, budgets are budgets, and that's great, but you need to have your expectations aligned. If someone is just 1 year in the industry, like, you're not going to get the same level of experience, and most likely not the same quality level. I would hope not. Like, I would hope the person charging more would give you a better experience, better quality. But it's like, you can't just like bash that vendor because you didn't get exactly what you wanted well, did you look at their work? Like, is it aligning with what you wanted? Oh, it's not
No.
aligning? Well, that's not on them. It's kind of on
And
you, sadly.
and the industry, we have no regulation. We have no, like, we regulate internally, kind of. But as a whole, there are no, like, set, standards or boundaries for the most part that keeps us all accountable. And so we have people who thinking, "Well, if you're charging money and you're saying you're professional, then I expect this." It's kinda like, there are levels,
Mhm.
okay? I have a different experience, walking into Walmart than when I'm walking into the Louis Vuitton store. But
Mhm.
again,
It's
they
different.
couples don't know. But I'm like, well, if you can see the price point, look at it from that angle. Um, but I think also we have so many couples who are booking just off of price and not considering anything else. And that is like a surefire way to make sure
Mhm.
that you do not, um, that you're walking into, like, the unknown for your wedding day, because price, of course, is a factor. It cannot be the only factor on why you choose someone. If you're between, oh, I really love this person's work, this person's okay, they can kind of do it, it's cheaper, but I really love them. Like, if this is way, way out of budget and this you don't really care for, then you got to find another in between. Um, of course, it feels selfish to say, yes, you should spend, splurge on photo and video, but it really is the only thing you walk away from. And I know people say we're biased when we claim that, but I also got married and I made sure I spent
Yeah.
what was I considered a significant amount of money for photo and video. I'm very happy with my final products. Again, that wedding dress is in the closet. I haven't put it on since the wedding day. I think it's still dirty.
Yeah.
Um, but I have my photos in my phone. We have the footage from our wedding. We have all the things to remember the day by, and we're very happy with what we received. Our families are happy because they can look back at the photos as well and the videos. These are things that mean more to you as time goes on because people do pass.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't see people
Yeah.
as much anymore because the 2 times people are all getting together, weddings, funerals. And so
Mhm. Yeah.
it would really be in people's best interests to make sure that when they're deciding on photo or video, especially, make sure you actually like the person and the work and that you feel confident in choosing them. Because that's another thing with expectations is we're choosing people
Yeah.
and then micromanaging because we don't trust them. And
Oh.
so, mm, mm.
Yikes. Yeah, I hate that.
Mhm, mhm,
I did want to ask, I kind of wanted to rewind a little bit. So
mhm.
like I know you're a very confident person and very professional, so I know that you can like explain things to couples. I know we love to say educate, but like, you give them a little bit of insight into like,
Yes.
hey, this probably won't work because of this, or like,
Mhm,
let's do this instead. Um, but for like, let's just say any vendor that is like, how do I communicate? How do I help these clients align their expectations with reality in a way that's like kind and not just like bursting their bubble, like, oh no, you're not going to be able to do that. Or
mhm.
like, oh, that's a $500,000 wedding. You can't do that. Like, no one wants to hear that.
We don't wanna burst their bubble. We do wanna lead with empathy. I think there's a way to talk to people. Tone matters. Word choice matters. I think the sandwich method probably is really good to start with, like a positive. Oh, this is really beautiful. I love this X, Y, and Z. Based on what you are either spending or having, we may not be able to get this exactly. We can probably try and recreate and whatnot. Like, you give them options. I think it's not helpful to just slap it down and say, no, that's dumb.
Mhm.
You have to, they don't know. We know. And even then, some of us do not know. We can tell some, anyway. But they really don't know. It's their first time, 9 times out of 10 doing this. You have to have
Mhm.
grace in explaining to them, like, that you understand their vision and that you see, of course, you understand why they're attracted to X, Y, and Z, but explaining, like, here's, some alternatives of what we can make work. People will respond
Mhm.
better to you telling them what is possible within the limits versus just saying a flat out no. That is not helpful.
Mhm.
That is not,
Yeah.
especially in the way, again, the way and how you communicate the no. Um,
Mhm.
Now we do not need to sugarcoat. Like, if it's not
Yeah.
possible, we like, okay,
Learned that.
you want a tented wedding with flooring in this backyard for $10,000. You are okay to say, hey, I see the vision, I love it. However, it's not possible. But what we can do is we can tell them we
Mhm.
can't do this, but here's what we can do. And this will fall, more in line with this price over here instead. But show them the alternatives. Show them what is possible
Mhm.
so that they have an idea of, okay, I can't do this, but I could have this. Am I okay with that?
Mhm.
Thank you for showing me what is possible with my budget versus just telling me nothing, because that's not helpful to
Yeah.
them at all.
Mhm. Yeah. It's definitely helpful, like, giving them those alternatives. And even if it's not like, let's just say it's not like price, it doesn't have to do with price. It just has to
Hmm.
do with like early on in our career, we would offer for full wedding days, we would do
Hmm.
6-hour packages, which, we all know that that doesn't actually really cover
Mm-mm.
enough
It's a micro wedding.
unless that's what you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and then couples would be like, okay, well, I want a full speeches film. And I'm looking at the timeline and I'm like, well, our coverage ends an hour before that. And, in the past, I think we felt awkward. We're like, do we just stay and cover it? Do we say anything? And
Hmm.
it's like, now I'm on our final meeting. I'm like walking through the timeline. If they're telling me like, oh, this moment is super important to me, and I'm like, well, our coverage doesn't even start until after the fact. Like, we can either shift our coverage, we miss the send off, or you could add, an additional hour of coverage, or we keep it the same and we just don't capture that moment. But those are our options. Like, what do you prefer? And I definitely did not used to do that, but that was not serving my couple well. And now it does serve our couple well. And like you said, it's how you say it. It's not just like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to capture that. It's like,
Correct.
well, what are the options? They don't know what's going on. Like
No.
they're expecting you to be the professional and help them.
Yes. Especially as we do this work more and more, we gain more experience. We understand more of what is expected and what we know is more than likely going to work. So, for example, when people are like, "Oh, I don't understand why you don't offer like, I just want 4 hours or 2 hours," and it's like, one, you were asking me to book off a Saturday in peak season and give you my entire day, and I
Yeah.
cannot do anything else. Now, honey, I'm a business. Let's like,
Yeah. Gotta make
no.
money. Gotta pay the
Um, ah,
bills.
but also I'm cutting the experience short. So no. Um, and so now I don't offer 6 hours is for something small. Like you're doing literally like maybe a dinner or courthouse or whatever else. But a traditional full wedding day on a Saturday, on a Sunday, even a Friday. If you're having a full wedding and you want all these things covered, the minimum is now for me, it's 8 hours. I know for
Yeah.
a lot of us, we're probably pushing closer to 10 sooner than later.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah.
knowing like if I know I can't give you everything in this particular time frame, I'm not even offering it to you. Cause then
Yeah.
I don't want to have to come back later on if I don't have to say, oh, well, you need to add more. Like it's why I enjoy doing custom proposals now. Cause I'm like, explain to me,
Yes. Yep. I love it.
especially when there's a planner to tell me they need this, or talk to me about it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I would recommend they do this many hours or more or less. And we work it out.
Mhm.
That makes it so much easier for the couple. Cause again,
Yep.
before I used to do dumb things like ask them, well, how many hours of coverage do you need? They don't
Oh, yeah.
know.
We did the
It's
same
their
thing.
first
Yeah, they have no idea.
time.
They're
They're
like,
gonna
the minimal amount.
exactly.
I want
They're,
the
they're
price
gonna tell you the
low.
cheapest one. They're gonna say, yeah, that much. And then you realize, oh, I cannot squeeze everything into that. You're basically killing yourself trying to stuff all this in there. Then you're rushed. They're not enjoying the day. It's just a lot. And you're just moving from thing to thing instead of just letting the client be and enjoy the
Mhm.
moments. And so now I'm like, yeah, we're that 8 hour is the minimum. And you can add on from there. We cannot take away because for the experience that you
Yes.
would like to have from me that I know that is your expectation is that I'm putting out this work and you want work similar, I do need time to make that happen. I
Mhm.
prefer to have a planner who is a good planner, not just any
Yes.
planner, that's gonna be there to make sure that we can keep time and give you what you want. Because I mean, most people are doing this one time. I want you to
Mhm.
really fully enjoy and immerse yourself in the experience and not feel like you have to be constantly watching the clock about, "Well, what time are they going home?" "Well, we're here with you all night, babe. You
Mhm.
booked 10 hours.
Yeah.
We're not leaving until you leave."
Mhm.
So don't worry, we're here.
Yeah. I'd love to dive a little deeper into something you touched on, the
Okay.
whole planner thing. Um,
Yes.
we know that there, just like any wedding vendor, there's
Mhm.
different levels of experience when it comes to
Mhm.
planners. So I'd love to know, like, how does having a great professional wedding planner, you know, managing the couple's wedding day, how does that affect your job as a photographer? And like, how does that bleed over into their experience as a couple?
It changes everything. I think people think we're exaggerating when we say that, but when you have started from the bottom and then got into a certain level where you've worked with some really great people. I've been blessed to work with some really great planners and had some really great relationships with people. And it is night and day in the quality of my work. It is night and day in the experience I have overall because I do not have to worry about technically being in charge or work or my couple having to worry about things like people asking them questions, kind of like someone in charge over ask that lady right there, her. She has the answers or her
Mhm.
assistant or whatever else. As a photographer, I think about I had a wonderful fusion. I had a South Asian Jewish wedding last last year, 2 years ago. I think it was last year. Yeah. And the planner was great, so kind, wonderful couple. And I just got to just foot around the day, just camera in hand, just excitedly taking pictures. I didn't worry about too much. Timeline made sense. I had plenty of time for all the things that needed to happen. The couple themselves were more laid back. They cared more again about the experience of it all. We made time for
Mhm.
photos
Love
here
it.
and there, but my cortisol level was probably I was way down here. I'm like, oh, this is great. I felt like I wasn't having to run around with my chicken with my head cut off, trying to do a million things because things were out of order or out of place, or they were being pulled in different directions for things to answer questions or handle things that
Mhm.
someone else should have been in charge of. Particularly for
Yeah.
as you move up with couples who care about the overall aesthetic of their wedding, anyone can just recreate someone's Pinterest board. That part is you can just buy the same stuff. But when you wanna have something unique that is true to you and your partner and, um, just feels more like you want to have someone who is gonna plan and design and create an experience that feels good, not just to you, but to your guests. When the guests are having a good
Mhm.
time, it bleeds into the couple also realizing, "Oh, they're good. They can relax. We can all relax and have a good time." Because
Mhm.
there is the labor of the planner, her team, and all the vendors behind her or her or him, them, to make sure that everyone can actually enjoy the nuptials and the events and not have to worry about
Mhm.
the logistics and design of it all. I love it so much. It is very inspiring when couples hire someone who is not only good at design, but understands how to make sure the day flows well for the guests and for
Mhm.
the vendors. Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. Like, I'm sure couples, like you were saying, do think we're over exaggerating sometimes, but it's like the difference is night and day when there's just a venue coordinator, which I don't want to say anything negative because
Mhm.
sometimes venue coordinators actually do a great job, but I will say majority of them are not planners. So,
No.
they're managing things on the venue side, not really like
Correct.
the couple's experience, not really like all the vendors. So it's like, the weddings that have a very low touch venue coordinator or no coordinator
Mm-hmm.
versus the ones that have like a really great experienced planner. It's like the difference for the couple and their guests and the
Mm-hmm.
vendors is night and day. Those weddings excite me, they energize me. The weddings where the photo video team are acting as the planner and are telling people, hey, it's time for us to go do this. Oh, hey, bridesmaids, why are you not ready? Like,
That, or you're
father of the
having
bride, where are you?
that and
Yes.
having to educate, like, if having to educate the other vendors because the person they hired is not experienced enough. Because we have right now, there's an influx of people who are like, I planned my one wedding, and so now I'm a planner and I want to plan all your weddings too. And it's like, oh, um, and the statement, well, my wedding was great, everyone loved it. Okay, you have no frame of reference was outside of your own wedding 9 times out of 10. You have planned your one wedding and maybe a friend's wedding. That does not an expert make. Sorry to say. I'm not saying people shouldn't aspire, but maybe work under somebody who can possibly train you, because
Mm-hmm.
just because your wedding or that other wedding went well does not mean you can that's not a repeatable process just yet. You just started.
Mm-hmm.
My first wedding
Mm-hmm.
was cool. Great. But that didn't make me all of a sudden a wedding photographer expert, because I had like one camera, I had one flash
Yeah.
with one
One
set of
lens.
batteries. Like, I didn't, girl. And
Oh
now
gosh.
I could never now.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago. But when you have a planner, and the thing is, we know as vendors that a lot of their work is unseen. It's not just the
Mm-hmm.
wedding
Yeah.
day; it is all the work before. The wedding day is the visual representation
Mm-hmm.
of all of the back end work that was done to make sure it was possible. So the venue coordinator, 9 times out of 10, they are not reviewing your contracts. They're not negotiating your contracts with vendors. They're not doing vendor communication. They are not handling the fires that are outside of the venue's scope. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've had planner friends tell me things going wrong, and they, because of their relationship with someone else, were able to call in a favor to come fix a problem from another vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Have clients who will hire outside of who the planner recommends. Now this person has somehow caused a delay in the timeline because they were
Yeah.
late, or they didn't have the right materials, or overall just professionalism and quality was lacking. And so now you're having to do damage
Mm-hmm.
control, because if not, it falls back on the planner and like, oh, well, they hired this person and this isn't going X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like, well, they told them to hire, these people right here. And they said, not doing it. I'm going to hire this person over here because they're cheaper. And so now here we are with the problem. So I understand now way better than before why planners will want to recommend certain people to their client, or will,
Mm-hmm.
have in their contracts where they will not work with just whoever. And same for, I know a lot of media teams now were requiring someone to have um a wedding planner, and 9 times out of 10, like, now I want to know who it is before
Yes.
before I say
Absolutely.
yes,
Me too.
because we know there's levels, clients don't always know. And so you'll have a
Mm-hmm.
situation where they're like, oh, we have someone, they're great, and then you realize this person started like 2 days ago. Or even if they have,
Mm,
people will have like, oh, I've been doing this for like 20 years. That also does not mean that you're great at your job. I'm just saying,
true.
time does not
Yes. Yep.
equate to you being better, because we know there are photographers who
Yeah.
are fresh and they are miles and leaps and bounds ahead of many of
Mm-hmm.
us. But that talent is just there. That experience is there. They've been able to learn quickly. Um, and for planners, a lot of that learning happens on the job. And so, someone who's been doing the same kind of work for 20 years and there's been no shift or change, versus someone who's been planning for 3 to 5 years, but each year has gotten progressively better. Very
Mm-hmm.
different. So I think we have to
Yeah.
be more strict, and everyone's trying to be more strict because we want to protect the client's investment. and to protect
Mhm.
ourselves for the experience that we're walking into, um, on the wedding day.
Mhm. Yeah. Every single vendor just, like, affects every single vendor.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously, like, a new wedding planner who, they've planned one wedding or they enjoyed planning their wedding and then now they wanna be a planner, it's like, that's great. But, maybe the couple should know, like, hey, they don't even have a year of experience. You want to have this very high level of like guest experience. You want these, really, pretty great photographer, videographer, all that good stuff. Maybe you shouldn't be hiring the planner that just started out. Maybe, you want vendors that somewhat align and then
Mhm.
the couple that, their budget can't really reach that or that planner that's been in the industry for 10 years, they could possibly align with the planner that's just starting out, So
Correct.
I feel like that's where we gotta align a little bit better. And I know like you try to educate your couples on that and like um, you know, we try to as well, but a lot of times they do already have a planner when they come to us. And when we find out who it is, typically I'm like, yes, I'm so excited. Love that planner. I know
Mhm.
that like this is not going to be stressful. But just thinking back to our days with mainly working with the venue coordinators, I don't know
Mhm.
if it's because we're videography and people don't think couples hire videographers, but I have been left out so many times from like the timeline emails. And like it
Mhm.
happens sometimes because planners, they have so many emails. So it happens.
Yes.
But it has happened so many times with venue coordinators. They don't send me a timeline. And then I'm like, I don't wanna reach out to the couple the week of the wedding, like, I don't have any sort of timeline, maybe I have a skeleton timeline, and so I'm like, "Hey, photographer, do you have a
Do you have
timeline? Like, sorry to bug you because 'cause you're not the planner." And, like, thankfully, the photographers come in and they're like, "Yeah, I do have a photography timeline, don't have a wedding day timeline, though, so I don't really know when speeches are," and, like, I'm just like, "What?" It's just no. That
no.
is not it.
And then when the day goes awry, it's like it's very much like, hindsight is 2020, and it's like, well, we're past it now. We're already here. So I think we try to do our due diligence
Yeah.
to give people the heads up before, like, I'm, you know, clarity is kindness. I am telling you,
Yeah.
I'm trying to save you the headache and hassle, because I think we've all seen, like you said before, the
Yes.
getting in the groups and being upset at the vendor and the videos that are made on TikTok where it's like, so and so ruined my wedding day. I hated them. They sucked. They were horrible. And it's just kind of like, oh. And so we try really hard
Mm.
to make sure that our clients don't have that experience and we do our due diligence or try to make sure that they can end up
Mhm.
having the best day possible, because I hate having to see those, because I'm like, dang, because you can't do the day over. You can't redo your wedding day.
Yeah.
So it's not to put
Mhm.
too much pressure and saying you have to pick the most perfect people ever, but just to like, let's be mindful. Let's adjust and let's make sure it
Mhm.
makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
if everyone you really love for work is at right here for price point, and this person is way down here and saying I can do the same thing that they do for less. Let's take a moment, double
Let's
check
reflect.
references,
Why?
because again, we know there are tiers, but it's like we have to, again, what we're expecting, we really have to make sure that the overall, like, what someone's offering, like, does it make sense? Can they actually do all of that? Are we sure?
Mhm.
Do we read the reviews? What does their website look like? What do their socials look like?
Mhm.
Um, let's do some checks and ask some questions to make sure
Yeah.
that it's gonna all flesh well together.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like all those things, like, reviews are super important. If they don't have reviews, why? why don't they have reviews?
Right.
Maybe ask them where their reviews are, you know? And if you're reaching out to a vendor and like you said, you have 3 options and like these 2 are at this level, this one is at this level, it's like, well, you know, if you like this quality, then there might be a difference in quality if, you know, the prices are significantly different. So I do think it's important, you know, for couples to get a feel for like the level, the quality and like the experience that they
Mhm.
want and, you know, reaching out, getting quotes from, you know, for example, different photographers, videographers. That way it's like, oh, well, I like this style. It seems like, you know, this is the price range for this style. Well, if I can't really, you know, meet that price range, let me align my expectations a little bit, either like cut an expense here or, you know,
Mhm.
lower my budget, but know that the experience will be slightly different. Like, you know, so I definitely think, yeah, couples don't come in knowing these things. And
No.
I remember my wedding day. I did not like flowers, for example. Before you were in the wedding industry, did you know how much flowers cost?
Not a clue. The only person that got married, let me see. My best friend got married 2019, and she picked an all-inclusive venue. So all our frame of reference, like we had an idea of what some things maybe might cost, but again, it was all inclusive to make it easier for her. And so the main thing we were concerned about was photo and video. um, Photo and video and hair and makeup was like our top things at the time.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
don't think we really sneezed the prices because at the time for us, for her, it was very much like, well, I want to make sure I like I get what I like. How much does what I like cost?
Mhm.
I was the same way when I got married. I'm like, well, I like, I'm in the industry now. I like all these nice things.
Yeah.
How much does what I like cost? And I had a wedding planner and she let me know off rip. The minimum at the time for florals was like, I think minimum was like 5 or 6K, which I think we know that's not even, well, in Atlanta at the time. I think we're past that now. Or it depends on who's doing what. But she
Yeah.
gave me a threshold. And that me being in the industry did not mean I automatically knew everything. I knew more, but, the couples don't know. They're guesstimating,
Yeah.
and so the sticker shock is normal, but usually once they can understand or see, "Okay, well, what I like costs this," the options are either I adjust what I want or we're going to adjust the budget. That's kind of where we're at. I think,
Mhm.
uh, trying to, like, knock people down for what they charge when it's like, well, it's okay if you don't wanna pay that price. There are things that I like that are very nice that I'm like, this is just not gonna happen."
Yeah.
Um, so I think, like, the amount of energy and time that is spent, fussing about what you can't have, redirect that baby. Redirect that energy.
Mhm.
If it's really that hard to find what you like in whatever else, get you a good planner, and you can stop having to
Mhm.
reach out to 10 people, uh
Yes.
to figure out what you're wanting. It's significantly easier to let your wedding planner take care of all that for you
Oh,
and
yeah.
present you and say, "Hey, here are the options that match what you have told me that you want," versus you having to do it
Mhm.
by yourself because again, they end up reaching out to that
Oh, yeah.
florist with a 20K minimum. And then it's like, oh, that's insane. It's like there actually are other people who can give you something that you will like in a different price range. You just don't know where and how to find
Yep.
them, but your planner
Mhm.
does. Let them help you out.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And I will say that, like, even for couples who maybe are on a tighter budget,
Mhm,
like, I still say get a planner because,
mhm,
you know, I won't say that we went all out on our wedding. I loved it, but like, we needed a planner. We didn't realize how much we needed her until we were like, oh, we'll just do partial planning. No,
mhm.
we needed full service. Thank God she took over because it's a full time job. And if you have a
Yes.
full time job, you're going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, yes, it was so helpful, but planners a lot of times do help you save money and time which time is money. And like,
Yes.
planners have so many more connections than couples do, or even than like we do as photographers and videographers.
Yes.
So it's like, that's going to save couples the headache of reaching out to so many vendors who aren't even going to be in the price range that they want to
Mhm.
spend. And so it's like, if you have a good planner, they're going to do the hard work for you. They're going to help you
Correct.
with a realistic budget for like what you
Yes.
want without making you have to spend, over what you want to spend. It's just better for the couple. It's better for the vendors, having a really good planner. So,
Everyone.
moral of the
And
story.
hire the planner. Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, I have industry friends. And having friends in the industry is not the same thing as having a wedding planner, because your friends in the industry likely does not have the same level of relationships the planner has. A planner who has worked with
Yep.
someone continuously knows how they work, has regularly brought them clients. That's different than someone who your friend has known and worked with a couple times. But also, like, the planners have the expertise, the knowledge, and those solid relationships with not just other vendors, but other planners as well, to assist you in a way that we can't. I'm a photographer. I can give you recs all day from who I've worked with, but I cannot look at your entire wedding vision. I can maybe place people and say who I've worked, but like I don't know what the back end looks like. I have no idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have only had my experience with them on the wedding day. The planner has
Mhm.
had all the back end experience with their
Yep.
communication style, with how they respond to conflict or how they deal with issues on the wedding day that I would never know because I'm taking pictures.
Mhm.
But your planner
Yep.
knows if this person works well under pressure, if they're able to make something out of
Mhm.
nothing, if someone is more likely to go above and beyond because of the relationship with them. And it's not to say like your planner's gonna get you all these discounts, girl, like all the things. And sometimes they can, but like that isn't the main focus. It's to have someone who can see the big picture of the entire day and
Yep.
break it up into little pieces for you so that you can actually enjoy being engaged. Because I know the big fight
Mhm.
right now is I'm just so type A. Can't. Why
Mm.
would I need a planner? I'm kind of like, being type A does not give you wedding planning experience. It doesn't give you all the things the planner has. You can be very organized and know what you want. That's helpful. But 9 times out of 10, the planner is more type A than you. Well, the good ones are more type
Hopefully.
A.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I said the good
hopefully.
ones are more type A than you, and they actually do this work. As in, this is their
Yep.
job. Repeatable
Mhm.
process. A
Yep.
steady flow of happy clients with reviews, with social proof to show.
Mhm. Yeah.
Your type A-ness, there is no way to measure that in the terms of wedding world because what can you show me related to a wedding that makes you qualified? You can.
Mhm.
Now, should you?
Depending on
I'm
what you want for your wedding.
know what you want because that again, I'm going back to the weddings that I know take so much work, like the private estate tented weddings where
Oh,
you can
yeah.
bring
Oh,
everything
yeah.
in, or like a multi-day destination wedding, um,
Yeah.
or that's think about Atlanta and some of the venues we have. Atlanta History
Yeah.
Center,
Like the Atlanta History
Biltmore
Center. Oh my
ballrooms,
gosh.
like some venues, the logistics of them, they're like, no, someone needs to be in charge of this day. Someone who knows what they're
Yeah.
doing so that
Mhm.
we don't have a problem. Um,
Yeah. I
please.
love it when venues require a good planner, like Atlanta History Center, the Conservatory at Blackberry Ridge,
Yeah.
other venues that are like, we understand that this is going to be very difficult if you don't have a professional planner.
And
So
they
we're
don't
just
want
going to
those
require it.
problems. They don't want those problems because then they're like, oh, can
No.
you help? No, 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 no. Because we told you, we told you to hire the people. You didn't want to hire the people. And now it's raining and there is no rain plan. There is no tent. There is no nothing, or there's no staff that you hired here to like bodies, labor.
Yeah.
Essentially it all
Yep.
comes down
Yep.
to please just have the labor and not your family and friends, because they really want to just enjoy the wedding day. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and they really can't help too much when they have been consuming alcohol and such and stuff. So no.
And sometimes they'll just leave because they forget they need to help.
That part. They like, and then you're not, and then like they love you, but like again, it's unpaid labor when you could just pay the right people to, and then you can just go home. Because I remember our wedding
Yes.
day. I think my mom probably put stuff, my planner packed up my stuff, like, our little whatever box, with our personals. And they put it in the car, and we just were like, "All right, bye, bye." Like, I was not worried about anything. And I'm
Yep.
like, I want that peace of mind for all of you getting married. Please
Yeah.
hire a great planner so that all your vendors can do the jobs that you hired them to do, and for them to do them well, so that when you walk away, you're like, this is a really good day. I enjoy myself, and
Yeah.
nobody stressed me out asking me dumb questions. So
Yep. I totally agree. That is a good point to start wrapping up on,
okay.
because I know you were saying earlier, and I was saying earlier, that we could honestly go on and on about this,
all day.
especially when it comes to planners.
Yes.
But before we wrap up, do you have any like final thoughts, anything related to what we said? Could even be random. Any final stories that you want to share before we sign off?
For the couples, I would say don't try to recreate someone else's wedding. Have the day that makes sense for you. Make it about what you two love. Make it about spending time with people who you invited to enjoy the festivities with you. You only get to do this like one time in your life. Make it worth it for yourself. And don't let people pressure you into doing more than what is feasible for you.
Yep. And don't be too worried about what you see on Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, because
Listen.
it's probably a multi-million-dollar wedding. Let's just be real. And
Once once you book your vendors, get off wedding TikTok. Like once you have booked
Yes.
everything, stay off of it so that you can enjoy being engaged. And don't tell anybody more than they need to know. Keep your wedding plans close to your heart, to you and your partner and your planner. And it's okay.
Yep.
If they want to know, they'll see when they get there if they were invited. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed this episode. I think our guests or our audience will like it as well. Where, if couples or vendors want to connect with you, maybe they want to see if you're available for their wedding. Where can they find you? Website, social media, all that fun stuff.
Yes, you can find me at ChrissandraJallah.com. Instagram is also at ChrissandraJallah. And TikTok is captured by Chris. We're a little bit more candid over there, but my Instagram stories are usually where I lurk to give a lot of my very opinionated statements.
That's where I was like, yep, she needs to be on the podcast. I'm like, this is a perfect topic. Can we talk about this?
Yes. Necessary.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of that in the show notes as well. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
This was great. Well, this was a great episode. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wedding Pro podcast. If you found this episode helpful, we would love it for you to share with a fellow vendor or someone who's getting married soon. Your support means the world to us and helps us reach more people in this amazing industry. We'll see you next time.